I'm very excited because today we're going to speak about a topic which uses our imagination, a story that brings people together. Because sometimes the fastest way to reconnect isn't through facts or advice, it's actually through a story, a shared film, or a childhood memory, a character we love. Stories can create belonging in seconds and bridge generations in a way nothing else can. The main character who represents resilience for you in the theater movie industry.
Yes, I
Okay,
100% yes.
okay, great.
Rocky is a good movie to watch, also for young people to see that they can create something when they want to.
Mhm.
That's right.
Exactly. No, that's nice. And I'm very excited because, of course, I spoke already sometimes with friends about films, but it's also nice to have the opportunity to speak with someone who is in the film industry. I think our listeners will be also very happy to discover a bit more that world from new eyes. Hello, 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 and a warm welcome to BrightBond, the podcast about real human connections across generation, cultures, and everyday life, anywhere and everywhere. I'm Patrick Duriaux, and here we share real conversations that leave you with practical ideas to create more connection. I'm very excited because today we're going to speak about a topic which uses our imagination, a story that brings people together. Because sometimes the fastest way to reconnect isn't through facts or advice, it's actually through a story, a shared film, or a childhood memory, a character we love. Stories can create belonging in seconds and bridge generations in a way nothing else can. Today, we're exploring connection through storytelling on the world of Disney and how stories can help families, friends, and even strangers feel closer. And to speak about this great topic today, I'm very happy to welcome Maria Krebs. Maria is a former professional tennis player who later built a career in finance and banking, and today works in the film industry with Disney. Through all those chapters, sport, corporate life, and storytelling, one passion has stayed constant with Maria: movies. She loves them since she was a child, and she brings beautiful perspective on how stories can create belonging, spark hope, and bring people together. Maria, it's a great pleasure to have you here and have your expert eyes as a professional with Disney. And welcome to BrightBond.
Thank you so much, Patrick, and also thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward for this podcast with you. It's a very interesting thing that you do, and it's just beautiful. And we have something in common, connecting peoples. The
Yeah.
movie industry is just about connecting peoples through stories. And I'm looking forward for what's coming up.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we both have another point in common. We love movies. So that's great. We can talk about it today together.
Yes,
Fantastic.
exactly.
Great. So let me maybe start with some warm up questions to warm up the voice. If I can ask you, how old are you and where are you based, Maria?
I'm 35 years old and I'm based in Zurich. I have been born in Zurich and I grew up here. So it's my hometown.
Okay, wonderful, very nice. And also, I like to always start the Brightbond podcast in a positive note. I would like to ask you, what brings you positive energy at the moment?
Sunlight.
Okay, that's good.
I think everyone in Switzerland has this in common. Sun is so important, and as soon as the sun comes out, people are going out and they're connecting with friends and they're celebrating and so on. But yeah, for sure, for me, for myself, sun at the moment is extremely important and it gives me energy.
Oh, so nice. Yeah, I can understand. And you have also a nice background with sunlight at the back.
Yes,
So
I
it's
mean,
nice. It's really nice. San
currently
Francisco,
I'm blessed.
beautiful. Yes, exactly. Beautiful.
Yes, right.
Exactly. No, that's nice. And I'm very excited because, of course, I spoke already sometimes with friends about films, but it's also nice to have the opportunity to speak with someone who is in the film industry. I think our listeners will be also very happy to discover a bit more that world from new eyes. So I wanted to ask you, maybe as a first question, Is there maybe a Disney moment, a film that's really represent the feeling of belonging for you, and why?
Yeah, there are several, but one that is really an important one I would say is not important. Let's say one that I can point to is Inside Out and Inside Out 2, which was recently in theaters. Okay, about recently, a few months ago, but still. And I always think it's so important to see how everyone goes through a certain phase. It's about growing up, and having emotions and going through the poverty and everything that has to do with it. And of course, as a young person, you have to deal with this experience, not knowing what's coming, where to, sort those kind of emotions. And it's a very beautiful movie. Everyone should see. And yeah, that's one thing that I would say.
Nice. What's the name of the movie?
Inside Out.
Inside Out. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So,
Inside Out and Inside Out 2, actually.
all
The
right.
second one was even better.
Okay, I'm gonna run to the cinema next week, I think, to watch it. It's
Theaters anymore,
it's
but it
not.
was some months ago.
Okay.
Maybe on streaming right now.
Okay, I will watch it. It sounds very interesting and intriguing,
Yes.
and seems that you can relate with your own life with that movie, right? From what you said.
Yes. And everyone who sees it, because we see the things, in the movie, and we just, say, yeah, that's true. That's what happened to me too, and you immediately create some kind of connection.
Mhm.
And
That's-
all the people have the same connection, It's like everyone's, yeah, I had
yeah.
the same.
That's a very interesting point. I was going to ask you, actually, in your standpoint, why do you think people, as you said, in general, can really much have a belonging or really have a connection through stories? Why do you think stories create connection between people? Because you see a lot of people, of course, going to the theater. What is your point of view on that point?
I believe when you go and watch a movie and you're interested into this movie because you have, I don't know, you have certain hobbies, or you love certain topics or themes, you go and watch a movie, and immediately the people who are there like the same things as you. Must not be, but could be, and when you, for example, like the movie and you sit there in the cinema with 200 people, and you have like with 200 people and you have the experience the same thing, 2 hours movie, it just, and you laugh together and you cry together, immediately you create some bonds.
Mm-hmm.
I think those kind of thing, it's like when you experience something on a trip, if you go abroad and you're brand new in a new country and you go together with a group of people, and your brain, as experiencing things that are new, your brain releases oxytocin, and this is known for connecting people. So at the end of the trip, you're friends with some strangers, that's the thing.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's very interesting. I think for me as well, sometimes I still quote some of the film with some of my friends we've seen together. I mean, comics, for instance, or comedies where we had a huge laughter about a sentence on the film or a scene on the film. Sometimes we still refer to that even 15 years later, right? So it's quite
Exactly.
unbelievable. I think it's magical, to be honest with you, how
Of
that
course.
connects people. It's amazing.
Yeah, I have a good example. I mean, the movie Hangover.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows Hangover.
Yes.
This is just like a masterpiece
Yeah.
of comedy, and everyone was laughing about that movie or in the movie, and everyone knows it. And immediately, if you, quote some things from the movie, everyone knows, or, it's something that just connects people. Theaters connect people, stories connect people.
Yes, you're right. Absolutely. That's beautiful. I also received quite a lot of feedback from the listeners mentioning they like actually stories and they like to listen to stories from the hosts. So I wanted to ask you if you could maybe share a moment in your life when you watch a movie, you really love the movie with maybe someone, and that really made you truly connected to that person, almost like a friend. So what would be that movie who created that strong bond with someone?
Well, since we're small, our dad is watching movies with us. And I remember that every Sunday after dinner, we would watch a movie together. And one of our favorite movies is Rocky. Rocky Balboa, the boxing guy.
Yeah, sure. I've watched them.
This is by far one of the most beautiful memories I still have and keep. It has to do with a man who wants to become a good, famous boxer. He wants to be the best boxer, actually. And since I'm small, I play tennis, right? And I wanted to become a professional, really good professional player. So the sport connected us in this way. My dad also, he's a karate master.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Master, yeah. And so we have this in common. And watching the movie Rocky, we always, saw like some similarities about life, and how it is. And that one thing is what I really adore is to see how he had, the main figure, Rocky Balboa, had to go through so much bad things and difficult times to achieve what he wanted to do. But he always believed in himself. And our dad was always telling us, you always have to believe in yourself, but you need to dedicate work to these beliefs, otherwise it won't work. You need to work, you need to be strong, you need to. There's a phrase also in the Rocky movies where he says, it doesn't matter how many punches you give or you get, it's important how many times to stand up, and become stronger. And I think that's something that everyone and every person in our lifetime on this planet Earth, has to take personal and say, look, doesn't matter how many times I go through hell, I will stand up and I will become stronger through that. This is a new lesson that I have learned, and I will take it with me, and I'll be stronger, and I will get there where I want to be. And I will hope, and I will dedicate the work to it.
Nice, very nice. So, would you say that's the main character who represents resilience for you in the theater movie
Yes,
industry?
Okay. 100% yes.
Okay, great.
Rocky is a good movie to watch, also for young people to see that they can create something when they want to.
That's
And yeah, another thing that I really admire in this movie is he still he got the fame, but he still remained the same person, and it shows him in different times, when he's older, how he copes with some losses, how he copes with losing his wealth and so on, and he always remains the same person. And this is extremely important for us. We always have to make sure we never forget where we come from and who we are, and who our friends are, who our family is. Those people are supporting us and our back, and that's something I like to see in this movie.
Wonderful. That's nice. You're right. It's really also show the fact that there's some humility in his character, even though he gets, of course, success and fame. That's quite nice. Is there anything else that you think you've learned from Rocky, from the character, from the film? Is there another side of the movie where you learn from that you can use in your everyday life? So you spoke about resilience. You spoke about maybe humility. Is there anything else that brings you also, or you sometimes think about Rocky for another aspect?
Yeah. I love the connection he has with his wife, Adrienne. And I really love the fact that she was there for him, and very selfless and not wanting to. She didn't want anything. She just wanted to be next to him, by his side, and support him. And I think love is something that everyone needs, and it gives us power, and love can be found in many different ways. It's not only love from your partner or your husband, or it's love from your friends. It's even the love from your pet, if your dog, if you come home and your dog is just very happy to see you, it's just beautiful, and I think love is the strongest power existing, in my opinion, and can move mountains. And we need to take care of it. That's in any relation, towards our friends, as I said, and towards pet, towards our colleagues at work, towards our grandparents, to everyone, husband, wife.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, that's beautiful to hear. It's really nice and romantic, I have to say. It's beautiful to see.
Yeah.
I also, it's interesting. I just realized that we also have another point in common because I also used to do quite a little bit of sport. And I remember, as you said, I had this connection with my teammate. I used to play basketball. So that was, of course, one topic we will speak a lot. But at the same time, I was loving movies since I'm a kid. And I used to have, a long time ago, those VHS cassettes, right?
Ah,
So I
yes.
used to have a wall full of those cassettes, and I was very meticulous to put the numbers and write them, the titles and everything, to a point where actually my teammate will rent. I was like a video club from the basketball team, and I had to actually write who I let that cassette to because I rented so many of them. But the beauty was that on top of paying, of course, on speaking out basketball, we had another connection because every time they would give me back the cassette, we'll speak about the film. So it was also really beautiful to have, as you said, you did the same. You can speak about the film with people from different area and different generation, and also yeah, also with people you are very bounded already with from sport or other activities.
Exactly. It creates bonds. It's just, yeah. And actually going to the theaters too, of course, it's always the movies that make the people come to theaters, but it should also become something that, that an event to do with someone, because you go and experience something together. Even if you can hate the movie, but you do it together, And as I said, it releases oxytocin,
Yeah.
it's this hormone of love,
Mhm.
and you just like to experience things together.
No, that's beautiful. And I really like what you mentioned about your story between your family and your dad and the film Rocky, of course. It's really powerful. And I wanted to ask you again, with your experience working for Disney, and you've watched probably thousands of films, is there one story from Disney or one film where you thought this film works really well across all ages, from kids to seniors? So a film where you maybe receive feedback from the audience saying, yeah, you saw old people, young people, and they all love the films. Is there one film in particular that you felt that film was really a great bond between generations?
My favorite movie is Titanic.
Is it okay? You go.
So I think everyone knows the movie.
Yeah.
Every Christmas, you're just spammed with the movie. You cannot not know it.
Uh-huh.
And it's something I really believe one of the greatest masterpieces for this time. It's a little older movie, but it looks like it was created just right now. Last year. It's so nice and amazing artwork. And
Mhm.
I believe talking about this movie, of course it's a catastrophe that's about
Yeah.
Titanic, but there is a love story, and it has so many different kinds of points where people connect together to talk about this movie. Some of them, they're very fascinated about how the movie was made. Others love the story uh, about Rose and Jack and the
Yeah.
love story and everything, which traumatized me for my life. But yes, but I think this is a movie you can talk to anyone. I think everyone knows it from small age, I guess, or not small age, young age. You can connect and watch the movie together and say, oh my goodness, it's Christmas, for example, let's watch Titanic, or Valentine's Day, it's time for Titanic. And the thing is, this movie is like 3 hours or so,
It's long. Yeah.
and it's very long, and 3 or 4 hours, and you just experience almost a half day with the person watching it, and
Yeah.
creates a bond.
Yeah. That's
This is
great.
something, yeah, I would say Titanic.
Yeah. And it's a real story as well. So if people are curious, they can also go to read the real history about what happened. And yeah, I think it's also nice when it's also based on real stories. It's quite
Yeah,
interesting as well.
exactly. And another story that I would say, which I think is brilliant because it's packed into humor. Humor always works for every generation. It's Cool Runnings. In Jamaica had Bob team, you know, and they had to be with some strangers together, sit into a small Bob and slide down. And
Yeah.
it was so funny to watch, but it was also very beautiful how four strangers became friends through a new experience, you know.
Yeah.
And it felt like at the end of the time, like at the end of the movie, it felt like they were already a family, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, just two remarkable movies I would recommend to anyone and everyone to everyone to watch.
Okay, wonderful. That's great to hear. Thank you so much.
You say, if I may ask. So this
Oh,
is a movie that you can say, wow.
well, this movie, I think I remember Aladdin pretty well, and I liked it because it was fun. It took me to another place, so I really was not thinking about anything else. I was captured by the story. Of course, I like the fact there's a genius coming out of a lamp and can give you everything and everything. So it's really applied to the imagination. So if I had to say on the Disney movies, I really like Aladdin. I think it was a great movie. Nemo, I think, was really fun. I really laughed when I Finding Nemo, the fish, because I like diving as well. So obviously, I saw real ones in the sea when I was diving in the Maldives. So I was, I found that really funny, and I like the fact that it's under the water. It's a different world, and I could relate with it because, I love diving as well. So both films are really beautiful in that standpoint. Yeah. From Disney, for sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, they're very nice.
And another movie, which is your favorite movie of all time? I really want to know.
Well, Maria, if you start with that question, the podcast is going to last 2 days, I think. But I've got so many like you. I think so many stories. I think one story that I told you. I think I studied a bit of cinema when I was studying science. We had a semester where we could pick a topic, and I picked cinema, and we're a team, and we did a research on two cineasts, Frederick Wiseman and Michael Moore, who are two engaged filmmakers, different generations, but both different styles, and we studied that. So it was quite interesting to see that the Frederick Wiseman movie, the first one, was banned from the cinema for 40 years because he was the first American cineast to actually criticize society in the US and criticize the condition of patients in psychiatric wards. So it was quite interesting, not a happy story, but very powerful. Also, the way he filmed, his strategy was to put the camera in an angle and make sure that people will just forget the camera. As if you take Michael Moore, he's always engaged, he's always in front of the camera. So different style, both powerful. So it was quite interesting to compare both style. I really like that.
Well, what's it called?
Pardon?
What's the movie called?
The movie is called Titi Cut Follies. It's an old movie. I don't know if it's still. I think I could access it because I could access the cinema department. I think it went out, but at the beginning, basically, it was not out. You could not see, only if you studied cinema you could actually watch it. Now I think you can probably find it on streaming. But it's I would say it's not a happy story. It's really a film, a documentary about psychiatric wards. I think in the 30s or 40s.
Yes.
So it's an old movie. More documentary than movie, I would say.
Yeah, there's another one which might be similar. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, with
Jack Nicholson.
Miss Jack Nicholson, amazing movie as well. I love that.
Yeah.
And also another one which I really like when I was doing my VHS video club, which is with Robert De Niro. I think he was absolutely unbelievable in
brilliant,
the film in The Awakenings. So it's basically playing a patient. And it's based on a real story. I think it was in 1969 where they were testing the L-DOPA in patients who were having paralysis. So it was, we would call them the statue people. So they were living, they had heartbeats, but they couldn't speak, they couldn't move, those people. And it's a real story. I think in the 30s, they were leaving those people alone. Basically, they were just giving them the minimum care. And then there was this doctor.
Yeah, I know.
I think it was called Dr. Sawyer, who was played by Robin Williams, who really was passionate about trying to find a solution for them. And he, I think, tried this drug, the L-DOPA, which was, I think, used for Parkinson. And he was the first to try to test, and he was challenged by his colleagues, his peers, who would say this drug will never work, you're wasting the time. But at the end, he managed to do it, and it's based on a real story. It was really inspirational for me, this story of a doctor really want to help and help those people who were just left alone because they could not communicate with the people.
Yeah, you just said something very interesting. You said that it was inspirational,
Yeah.
And this is one of the goals I guess every filmmaker wants to achieve, He wants to create something in the viewer,
Yeah.
It just doesn't they don't create the movies just for people to watch, They want to create some certain thought, an idea and some inspiration for their own life, for the viewer's life. And I think this is a big compliment, If you're inspired by a movie, I think the movie makers will be happy, because that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah. That's great that you speak about inspiration. I wanted also to ask you actually about another emotion that movie, I'm sure, creates sometimes. You and I, we played sport, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose in sport, and that's the same in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask you, why do you think movies actually can really give people hope?
I believe that in every movie like that you watch that has to do about a figure that is going through a stage in his life, you can see that there is a certain amount of hope, in them, and hope keeps us motivated. I said it before with my dad, when he told us, you can hope for something, but you need to dedicate work to it.
Yeah.
Hope alone does not. It's good to hope for something that, for example, you cannot influence it, of course. But if you can influence and you hope and you believe in yourself, you will be further than others that just stuck in hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is something that I think people can see in the figures, when they watch the movies together, and they see that there is something that they are passionate about. They go and they follow. The viewer is actually seeing a path, and seeing how it might end up, what the result is of the hard work, and through this the inspiration comes, and ideas come up. You go out of the movie and you think, how many times I have thought, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to change this. So like the main character in the movie, because I was so motivated by it,
Great.
Yeah, you sit there 2 hours in the theaters and you are forced. You don't have to sit there, but actually you're forced to watch it, and you take out the best of it. You take out the best of the stories, the thing you want to see. And one beautiful thing that everyone has individually is how you take the things, the interpretation.
Yeah.
So how you interpret this and this and this, and you reflect on your own life. And based on this, you go out and you are motivated by it,
I really like your energy, Maria. It's fantastic. It's beautiful to hear. I'm sure it's going to be actually inspirational for our listeners as well. So that's great to see, to hear your point of view as well. And also, of course, you've been professional tennis player. So it's also things that you really fought to get where you wanted to go with your career as a tennis player. And then it shows resilience. It shows, again, probably hope as well. So you, I would say, incarnated all those emotions and all those qualities in your life, which is great to relate to as well and to listen to. Thanks for that. It's really great. I wanted now to maybe use those skills you have. If I may ask you, at the end of each podcast, we speak about the BrightBond tip, or in other words, it's an advice. I ask our guests to give to the listeners something simple that they can apply very easily today or next week, whenever. So I wanted to ask you, Maria, if you could give us a BrightBond tip, or give the listeners a BrightBond tip, maybe one action they can take easily next week with someone they love, maybe something related to a film, as you wish, but yeah, something like that.
Well, Invite someone you really like to the cinema.
Yes.
There's so many nice, interesting movies, also art house movies, and you can just go and spend some time with the person. This is something I would recommend to everyone. And going to the movies, as I said, it's an event. It's something you do with someone else, creates a bond. Just do it and do someone as a gift. You don't have to expect anything back. What I think is important, and my message is maybe my psychology is to give love and not expect it back.
Mm.
And I think if we live with this mindset, and if we want to give the best of our time and love to people that are close to us, or even strangers, being kind to everyone, not expecting anything back, it would make you feel very well, and make the other person feel very well. And this is something that's my tip and suggestion for everyone. Try to connect with people. For example, your grandparents, try to visit them, try to take them to the cinemas. I don't know when they have been to the cinema last time.
Mhm.
And try to be polite to everyone you see in your life, not expecting to get it back. Just give it.
No, great.
Everyone has, every person has love inside of them.
Yeah, I
And
agree
it
with you.
doesn't cost to be kind.
Mm.
Just be kind and helpful and
Thank,
not expect it.
well, thanks.
My
Wow, wow,
message.
wow. Thank you. It's such a beautiful message. I wanted to thank you so much, Maria, for your insight. It was a very lovely, warm, and inspirational conversation with you. And I'm
Thank
sure
you.
that the listeners will be inspired by what you just said. You're right; it doesn't take much, and as you said as well, just going to the cinema. Sometimes nowadays it's easy to just stay at home and watch a film, but going and that's an event, as you said, and it's an event we can do together.
Yeah,
So I think it's beautiful. I think you had to take the summary of this podcast together, simple ones. I think stories don't just entertain us. Of course, it's an entertainment, but they really connect us, as Maria explained. They give us shared language, shared emotion, shared hope, shared resilience, as you said, Maria, very well. And they work so well across generation, from kids to seniors. For Maria, the film Titanic was the film to go to, which really connect the generation. That's beautiful. I really love this conversation today together, because sometimes one story is enough to open door to maybe laughter, understanding, or to belonging. I am a coach, and sometimes I actually use either books or films if I feel someone is stuck or doesn't understand something. Sometimes films can also create an understanding between people.
amazing.
So, to everyone listening, thank you so much for listening. Try this BrightBond tip today that Maria just said. Take someone to the movie, to the theater. Use maybe one story with someone you love. You can take people to dinner, to walk, to give them or send them a message. But yes, do something together. Maria also said sometimes it's good to also invite our seniors to the cinema. Maybe you're right. I would have to ask myself, when is the last time I took my aunt to the cinema? It's probably
Mhm.
not. Probably a while ago, so I need to do that and apply that myself as well. So that's a great inspirational tip. And thank you so much for listening to BrightBond. If this episode gives you a smile, and I hope it did give you a smile, please share it with someone else who might need it. And please don't hesitate to subscribe to our YouTube channel, BrightBond Official, spelled in one word. And please tick this little bell. It's free of charge, and it will really support us if you do that, if you subscribe. And until next time, I want to say take good care of yourself, and see you next time on BrightBond. And thank you so much, Maria, and bye for
Thank
now.
you so much for having me.
Thank you, Maria. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
what I think is important, and my message